Saturday morning, a couple of the guys, Kyla, because she was off work, wanted to go to Beach Park, which is a big water park resort area, about 30 minutes drive from the city. I wasn't keen for this because learning the lesson from Friday, where I'd got on the excursion and it was packed, I just knew that that type of area is just going to be absolutely rammed full of people. It's going to be drama, stress and unenjoyable. I asked guys if we could do something else. Give me a bit of stick obviously for being a diva, and they come up with a plan to take a little road trip into the mountains. So the gang was growing in numbers and starting to take shape on its core, and this involved me, Hyla, Rebecca, who'd been with me most of the time, guiding me through stuff, and Deborah, who'd been with us for the last couple of days, their cousin, and now joined onto the gang as well and wanted to get involved in the activities. So we set off on a little road trip. Queen Hyla has joined us. We didn't think she was going to make it, but here she is. 1 hour and a half up into the mountains, so getting away from the city just for the day, so there's no overnight kit required. Deborah was driving, I was in the front. Road trip, oi oi!
Hi!
Bit of the Arctic Monkeys playing, we're off to the mountains. Is that right, Rebecca? Which would normally mean DJ in charge of the tunes. Not on this occasion. Girls took over, although they did sense that I was getting a little bit bored with the Brazilian local music. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I can get along, it's got a good beat to it, and I can enjoy it and get along with it. It's nice to put something on that you do know every now and again. So I did, chucked on a couple of songs that went down well with me. Bit of Arctic Monkeys, bit of Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars, Mark Ronson to get us going. Head off, good high spirits, having a good old sing along and just having a laugh, and pretty carefree, nice little drive up into the mountains. First stretch of it wasn't anything spectacular, just long straight roads, and then we really got into the more rural side of it. It reminded me of a lot of places I've been before, a lot of countries which are dry, but they have those areas of greenery and lots of open nature as well. Classic South America when I've been out here before, so Ecuador, Peru, those type of areas. Again, when it's warm, but it's a little bit hilly and mountainous and a lot of greenery as well. So I was really enjoying the trip. And you get those buildings as you're driving along just at the side. They're built with those cheap looking red bricks that just look as light as air, and you could break them with your hand if you hit them. Everything's built with them in these areas. Them, sort of the red curved tiled roofs as well. And I love, they make me really nostalgic to places like Belize and Albania, countries I've been to where you just go through mountain roads and then suddenly you see a couple of these shacks and they all look the same with this red architecture, plastic, cheap chairs just plonked outside, obligatory Coca-Cola sign, and they just look so basic and standard, but so refreshing and comfortable and inviting as well. And I love just driving past and seeing them and then stopping off and having a cold drink. I don't drink pop as a standard soda, apart from when I'm in warm countries or I'm out and about. I'd never sort of sit in the house or go to a shop and buy one. If I'm in a warm country and we're sitting outside, quite like that nice cold can of Coca-Cola or Fanta or soda. Once we got up into the mountains, we stopped by this small town. It's a tourist place for, I wouldn't imagine you'd get many gringos up there, apart from maybe peak season for Western travellers being out here. But as a standard, I didn't see any, and I don't expect to get many. Charming little village, a small main street. We took a little walk through. It made me laugh. Hyla pointed out this photo opportunity stand in the centre, which got the temperature on it. And she said people go up there especially to have a photo in front of this when it gets down to like 16 degrees Celsius. Unheard of So it's like, ooh, look at me, I've been in the freezing cold temperature of this town. We stopped off for dinner, quite a nice restaurant, elevated slightly, looking over the town. Had meat as standard, obviously in there. It's a nice meal, a little bit more expensive than normal places. After that, we had a little wander through the town. Some nice little restaurant, cafes, quaint little places you can buy your little souvenirs. Had a thirsty me for a coffee fiend. We hadn't long had food. I could have ordered a coffee at this restaurant, but I didn't. We stopped off at this really nice cafe, got coffee. Really good. The girls had something with chocolate in it, and Rebecca made me laugh when she tried the chocolate dish. Really chocolatey, really sweet, it was overloading, and then turned around, grabbed an ice cream from the freezer to start dipping in the chocolate thing that was too sweet. To overcome that, she bought even more chocolate and sugar. We jumped back in the car and we headed further up into the trails in search of this waterfall. Rebecca was raving to me about, we're going to do this trail to get to the waterfall. Maybe to those guys it was a trail. It was about 300 meters to get there. So you had to pay to get in. Of course, there was a small little area with shops and a gate. It was only about 10 real each just to get through this gate. And then we just had a little wander through the track. They were relaying the track as we were walking over it. It made me feel a bit guilty. These guys with the little trowels in their hands just looking at me as I'm trying to step around it, but you couldn't really go anywhere apart from step straight through it. Delighted to find an attraction Rebecca had recommended that was open. Finally found a tourist attraction that's open from Rebecca's.
Stop it!
From Rebecca's suggestions.
I said a lot more.
So we are yomping to the waterfall.
Show it. It's really beautiful, guys. I try to speak in a horrible English just because it's funny.
It's a small little waterfall. Then as it pooled into a couple of areas, you could just dip in. Really nice and refreshing. It wasn't warm. It definitely wasn't cold. So it was just that right temperature of just nice, refreshing, but still comfortable and warm with it as well. Me and Rebecca had a bit of a dip around there. Hyla and Deborah had a bit of a walk, got a few snaps, of course, and then just relaxed there for a bit. And it was beautiful just being in this tropical environment, not too far from civilization, but just feeling like you were really detached from it. Nice and peaceful and tranquil. There was a few people there, wasn't overcrowded, and chill out and enjoy it. After the waterfall, we mounted back up. It started to rain a little bit, which was quite nice and refreshing. Again, the rain isn't, when it rains out here, it's not like when it rains back home when you're diving for cover, or you're gonna end up shivering for the rest of the day. It's quite nice and refreshing. Back in the car, and then we started making our way back through the mountain tracks and finding all these little fruit stalls just at the side of the road. So the guys were just pulling over, picking out different types of fruit, which you can't readily get in Fortaleza in the city, to bring back for me to try, and of course to give to the family who hadn't been out to get some of this fruit for a while. Oh, yeah. It's called Hyla Diva and she said thank you, so happy days. Suddenly Deborah pulled over to the side of the road, just looked at me and just pointed at her seat, which was the driver's seat, which is the universal language for you're driving, amigo. Just a bit shocked by it. Now, I'm not scared of driving in foreign countries. I've driven Humvees through the streets of Baghdad. I've driven a car in Albania, Tirana, which is probably was even scarier than driving a vehicle through an IED-laden village in Afghanistan. It's absolutely ridiculous. Tirana, Albania. For some reason, everybody just beeps the horn. Even if there's no traffic or nothing that you can see going on, it just beeps the horn. The lights turn to red, they just sit there beeping the horn, someone else start beeping the horn, everyone's just beeping their horns. Ridiculous. So I popped into the driver's seat and started driving. Didn't get too far though, because suddenly the guys told me to pull over at the side of the road to change, and I was like, well, I'm happy to carry on, but there was a sign saying that there was a police checkpoint coming up, so we didn't really want to be getting into the territory, being pulled over by the local police and having a gringo with no I have a driver's license but no documents for this country legally to be able to drive that car. So we switched back and I was back in the position of DJ / non-DJ. We got back to the city. We weren't knackered or anything, but we'd had a bit of a drive and a nice day out. We weren't in the mood for clubbing or doing anything ridiculous. The girls are really great company, like they're fun. Very, very relaxed and open. It was just a really nice day out, and it was nice to do something that I guess a lot of people who come to Fortaleza, gringos like me, don't get to go and see, especially not with people who live here. That was fantastic to just see that side of taking you into their habitat. So I'd recommend, if you do come here, then if you can, try and get into one of these areas off the beaten track and away from the city. Rebecca was still feeling it a little bit from the late night on the Friday, the karaoke, so she wanted to go to sleep. And then myself, Hyla, Deborah and Sylvia, Rebecca's mom, we all went out for dinner. We went to this more for them, a fancy part of the city. Collection of all sorts of restaurants on there. It was fairly busy Saturday night, quite hard to get a table. Classes you more upmarket night out. And you could tell the type of people there, dressed nice, in good shape, right, carrying that air of a little bit up themselves. And we found a place, had live music on there, which was great. They were singing English songs as well. I could understand, or could relate to the songs and recognise them. And then, as always, it was steak for me. It doesn't fail to impress with the food out here. Even when it's probably average, it's still quite special to me. Rounded off a really positive day, packed loads in again. Yeah, just having a great time with the guys. Felt a little bit like I was going into Pablo Escobar's ranch. Guy opened the gates and Beatty stares at us as we came in.
Shouting at me, get ready, come on, from the bedroom.